Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Safeoclock Health and Safety Interactive Workshop. My name is Johnson Walla, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. All right, so in today's discussions, our topic of discussion today is legal implications for safety officers, and particularly behind bars or imprisonment. So, as our culture has been, I'll start with a brief presentation. After the presentation, the major highlight of today is I would like each of the participants to share with us any of the experience that you might have witnessed or you might have come across, either you read somewhere or you are part of, where safety officer was not even convicted, or where a safety officer was detained or had legal issues because of his job. So that will be an added advantage to give us a clue of what could go wrong and what could be the implications if a safety officer does not do his job very well, or even if he has done his job very well, but something along the line goes wrong. So that is the major thing we need to learn from each other's experience today. It's very, very important because some people have not witnessed where a safety officer have gone to jail or have been convicted due to incident at work or due to his job role. But in our activities today, if we're able to share our experience or share our knowledge or the information we have, even without mentioning company names, without mentioning locations, you can simply share the information you've had or what you heard that happened in so situation, just giving us a scenario, and that will help us to learn about what could go wrong, especially in this our field of health and safety. That is the major highlight of today, so that we'll learn from people's experience and don't wait for us to fall victim. So in this short presentation, I will emphasize on the role of safety officers in the workplace. I will also talk briefly about common laws, common legal issues that safety officers could face. I will also talk about some health and safety laws. Then I will share a practical case study of where safety officers or incident resulted in safety officers and the management being fined because of the incident. So after that, I'll give room for us to give some practical experience or the knowledge you've heard without mentioning company names. That will be very fine. All right, so let's start with some of the roles of safety officers in the workplace. The first one is to risk assessment and risk management. It's the responsibility of a safety officer to identify potential hazards, conduct risk assessments, ensure that control measures are identified, recommended, and there are adequate control measures implemented. Also, safety officer could also be responsible for developing health and safety policies and implementing those policies. Getting an update when there is need for update to update the policies, should be there to update them. Ensure that these policies are communicated to all the employees, and ensure that this policy is in compliance with legal regulations. Not just having a policy, but the policy should be compliant with local legal regulations. Then, in incident investigation and reporting, the safety officer is responsible for investigating all accidents or all the incidents, including accidents and near miss. Ensure that proper corrective actions are implemented. And he is also responsible for reporting this incident to relevant authorities, either within the organization and the ones that should be reported outside the organization. He should ensure that this is complied with. Then in training and education, safety officer is also responsible for developing and conducting safety trainings. So he should be ensuring that he promotes safety culture by adequate regular training. He should also is also responsible for ensuring that all employees get involved with all the safety initiatives that he will be bringing out. Emergency preparedness, the safety officer is also responsible for developing emergency response plans. Is also responsible for conducting emergency drills and exercises. Safety officer is also responsible for ensuring the availability of emergency equipment. Compliance and auditing is also responsible for ensuring that the workplace or his employer is complying with all relevant safety regulations. He should also conduct regular audits and inspections to verify the compliance to these legal regulations. It's also his responsibility to maintain these safety records and documentations. So not just conducting the inspections, but maintaining adequate and accurate record of all these inspections. He's also responsible for proper communication and collaborations. Should be collaborating with different departments that are relevant to the workplace. It should be maintaining proper communication with the employees and with the external safety organizations, or maybe external bodies that are relevant to that workplace. Should be maintaining proper safety communications where required. So this is just the basic, and I'm sure that practically there are more safety officers do in the workplace. So during the discussion, we'll take time to explore in those practical aspects as well. Now, let's look at some of the common legal issues that safety officers could face. The first one I will talk about is negligence. When a safety officer neglects his roles and responsibilities, when he's not doing what he's supposed to do, or when he's not active in his job, so it's a common legal issue. If an incident occurs due to negligence, then the safety officer is likely to go in, or he's likely to be held accountable. For instance, if an equipment was supposed to be identified, or a faulty equipment is supposed to be identified, but this was not done, it was neglected. So if an incident occurs because of that, then the safety officer could be held liable. Another instance is if emergency drill is supposed to be conducted according to the policy or the procedure of the organization, and this was not done, it's part of negligence of duty. So if an incident occurs within that period, and maybe the employee involved in that incident have not or have never participated in the emergency drills in that workplace, so it could be regarded as negligence of duty, and the safety officer could be held liable. Another common legal issue faced by safety officers is failure to report. In most situations, safety officers could have identified the hazards, maybe made proper recommendations to supervisors or maybe to people responsible. But if there were no proper report made, if the report was not channeled to the right person, the safety officer could be held liable as well if an incident occurs. And during the investigation, it was found out that there is no evidence of report that was on ground. For instance, if there was an observation that a particular scaffolding or a particular working platform was not safe to use, and the safety officer have observed this, reported to the supervisor verbally or through phone call, and in the process of trying to find rectification, somebody fell from that platform. In as much as he has identified the hazard, but control measure has not been implemented, and there is no evidence of report, he could also be held liable because he cannot prove that he has done all that he needs to do. So that is part of failure to report. Or another instance could be when an unsafe condition has been observed by the safety officer, but he has reported this issue, but to the wrong person or somebody who is not responsible for implementing that control measure. For instance, this observation was made in a particular work area and they reported to maybe a charge hand or a foreman. Maybe by his roles and responsibilities, he's not responsible for that. It was not reported to the right channel or to the right person. Then the safety officer could also be held liable on failure to report. So these boxes should be properly ticked, not just reporting, but reporting to the right person, following up with the report and giving a proper update on those issues observed. So this could be a way of avoiding this liability. The other common legal issue could be inadequate training. If an incident occurs due to poor training or an employee not trained to partake in that particular activity, and he was allowed to take part in that activity, this safety officer could also be held liable. For instance, if somebody have not attended work at height training and he was allowed to work at height, that is a case of inadequate training. So safety officer could also be held liable for permitting an activity that the employee was not adequately trained. And that incident would be linked to incompetency or inadequate training. So the safety officer who should be responsible for conducting safety trainings will be held liable. Another instance could be like in this summer season, if somebody just came to the site or maybe he just came back from vacation and he has not attended his stress management training. Even if he has attended the training last year, he has not attended refresher training this year, and he goes to site and suffers heat-related illness. The safety officer could also be held liable in the account of inadequate training because the worker was not reminded or have not attended the refresher training, which could have helped to improve his safety consciousness in the workplace. So that is another issue that a safety officer could face legally. Another common legal issue that safety officers could face is discrimination and retaliation. If safety officers in the workplace carry out their activities in a partial manner without doing justice to all, or let's say when distributing personal protective equipment, it was not distributed to all, it was distributed to few people that you liked, or in a situation whereby you have a particular work area that you are so concerned about without being concerned about the entire or work location. So that could be regarded as discrimination. Then the retaliation part of it is in a situation whereby the safety officer is trying to pay back a particular employee or a particular supervisor or line manager who maybe has failed to comply with his instructions, and you decide to give some payback or retaliate. Then if an incident occurs within that time or an incident originates from that factor, then the safety officer could also be held liable and could be charged for discrimination and retaliation. Another legal issue that safety officer could face is corporate responsibility. This has to do with ensuring that the productivity of the workplace is also as important as the safety concerns of the workforce or the employees. If the productivity or the job is given more priority or is given more concentration and the safety of the workers is neglected, then corporate responsibility issues, legal issues could also come up. And this is where safety officers could be held liable for not ensuring that safety is given adequate attention as much as the production or the outcome of the work. So let's look at some of the health and safety laws that could apply to these safety issues. In the United States, OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Act, is the safety law that governs or will be able to be used to preside over these issues. In United Kingdom is Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. In Canada is Canada Labour Code. Australia is Occupational Health and Safety Act. So these laws, they cover both hazard identification and risk assessment. They cover protective equipment, safe machinery and equipment, workplace environment, hazardous substances, ergonomics, noise and vibrations, lighting and ventilation, first aid and emergency procedures, even health monitoring procedures. So depending on the location and depending on the law that your local authority complies with. So if there is a legal issues or legal liability, they will look into these health and safety laws and judge the case. Okay, I have a case study to let us know. There is a supermarket chain known as Morris. This is a case study that I got from Safety Act in UK. So a supermarket chain known as Morrison, they had a conviction charge because an employee who was suffering from epilepsy, he fell from the staircase, leading to his injuries. Those injuries were what he eventually suffered before he gave up. So the employer was charged and was fined 3.5 million for negligence. And the reasons was that there are more control measures that could be put in place to ensure that this employee fits properly to the workplace. Now, during the investigation, it was found out that the employer has adjusted even the workers' duties kept him in positions where he's no longer allowed or is not required to climb staircase. His job routines were adjusted as well due to his health condition. And even at that, when he went through the staircase and fell and eventually suffered fatality due to that fall, the employer was also charged. The reason was that there is more that could be done, or there is more that the employer could have done to ensure that the worker does not use the staircase or does not fall. So what are the recommendations, or what is the lesson to be learned from this? That the health and safety practitioners should ensure that they collaborate with the HR department to check the condition of the workers, ensure that you are aware of the health condition of some of the workers, and that adequate risk assessment should be conducted specifically for employees that have health issues or chronic health issues that should be solely based on their performance. So this is a lesson learned from that even though that you might have done a part of, or you might have put in place some control measures, but if there are still more that could be done to prevent that fatality, then the employer and the safety officer could also be held liable, just like in this situation. All right, so I've just finished with this case study, and just like I said from the beginning, I would like us to give some clear examples of practical examples that we've witnessed, or the stories that we've heard where safety officers were held liable due to incidents, so that others can learn and so that we learn together. So in the course of the discussion, I will also come in also. So thank you for your time. I'll leave the room open now. Yeah, the floor is open now, so anybody can go ahead. Okay, for some people that were not here when we started, I said you can decide to withhold the name of the company, even withhold the location of where the incident happened. Just give us a brief or a summary description of what happened and how it became a legal issue and how the safety officer got involved and what actually came out of it. So we just want to learn from those experiences, especially for people that have not experienced those things, even if not the one you witnessed in your workplace, the one you heard about. And so let's hear from each other.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, this is a very interesting topic that our host has enlightened us about, reminding us of the implications of the law. As health and safety practitioner, one of the things that we should put at the back of our mind is that we should always be on the side of the law to protect ourselves from any legal issue. Yeah, in the course of my practice, I've heard a lot of stories. This story was about a company in Dubai, in the UAE. The safety officer was employed, and on that fateful day, they didn't conduct TBT before they start the job. Rather, the worker that lost his life did not participate in the TBT. But the safety officer, in the course of his inspection, saw this guy at a height of more than 10 meters. He was wearing a safety belt, but he did not anchor. So from below, he tried to blow the whistle and give the guy signal to anchor, and he anchored. Then the safety officer left to another location. Just before some few minutes, the guy fell and died. So now the law came in. Yeah, as usual, the police, like in Qatar here, the Afaza will come, everybody will be taken to the police station, the project manager and all that. So in this particular case, when they got there, the first thing the police will ask, where is the training? What they say, safety, what are you doing? Just as we are all familiar. Why did this thing happen? So in this particular case, the safety officer was asked and there was nothing to show. The TBT he presented was not, this guy was not, his name was not there. And when the investigation was concluded, the company that hired the safety officer, they claimed that they hired a professional to do the job and he was not able to secure the worker's life. At the end of the day, the case was decided and they said it was the negligence on the safety side, which was one of the first item you highlighted, that it was negligence on the safety side. For that reason, the blood money was placed on his head, which is 200,000 UAE money. I get to know about this because somebody was even asking me to contribute, that they have to contribute money for this guy to come out of prison. He has spent 4 years, that he will not be able to pay the money. Since he has been working, I don't think he has even saved maybe 50,000 dirham as a safety officer. So he was there for 4 years in the prison. So they were sourcing for money in the GCC area, and people donated, and that was how he was released after being the money was paid. So that also opened my eye when I get to know about that story. I tried to I learned lesson from it, that any site I am working, the first thing I want to do with that money, I want to know about the job. Let's do our activity, everybody sign. From that I learned my own lesson. So it's always good for us to be conversant with the law. We should not take it lightly. Not that we should, because of this, we should not get panicked that, oh, I am in a big problem if any incident happen. No, it's just to follow the normal procedure, and you'll be on the path of the law, and the law will not catch up with you. Another thing I want to say is that we should be aware that it's not good when incident happen on our side and they're tagging it on the safety, health and safety. According to part of GCC law and Qatar, you as a health and safety, when an incident happen, especially a fatal one, they will register it on your name, on your ID, and you go to look for a job and they will say, incident happened in your area. It becomes very difficult to get a job, especially when you are out of job. So it's always good that we should be on the side of the law. We should be proactive. We should do the basics, just do the basics. So the key word here is that don't be negligent and be proactive. That is my own lesson I learned from the whole story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. We really appreciate that wonderful contribution, and it's an eye-opener that we should take our job seriously and don't be so carried away with the usual. Because maybe this is your usual routine, then in that particular day, you think nothing has been happening for years. And this day, if you don't conduct TBT and you don't think that anything will happen, so don't be so comfortable with the routine. Ensure that that routine is your legal responsibility. So you should not fall into negligence. So thank you for that wonderful highlights and the scenario you shared. So let's get more from other participants. Please go ahead if your mind is telling you to share your story. Somebody could be saved from whatever the information you will share today. And like I said, you can withhold the location, withhold the company name. Just let us know exactly in summary, the incident that happens that safety officer got implicated, and then we'll share our lesson learned from there. So let somebody take it up.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to ask, there are some companies, they value production than safety, than the safety of their workers. I know if a company, maybe if someone works in a company, uh, where even the engineer, because they are the management team, even find it difficult for workers to conduct, or sorry, for safety or even the foreman to conduct TBT. What will the safety officer do?
Okay, can I answer that?
Yes,
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah. Yeah, I will use myself as an example. Like, we are professionals. One thing, when I got to a site, I was given an offer. I was given an offer after an interview. So, and they said, okay, go to site. When I went to site, I see how engineers are using these workers like they are piece of just like tool, and there's no safety measure. I tried to intervene, and this guy was like, bara bara bara, bara bara, like just go away, do. So from that day, I know what the safety culture of that organization in. From that moment, I have not gotten a job for like 6 months when I got that job. That day, I decided to drop my helmet and went back home. Yeah. Then, if you find yourself in such situation, try to intervene, try to call their attention to the implication of negligence to health and safety of their employee. Try to show them the law, what will be if incidents happen. I openly tell my project manager one time that, look, if you allow this incident happen, not that the work may go on, but I will make sure that you will be held responsible. I told him, then he told me that he's going to sack me not from just from the company, he's going to sack me from Qatar. But I told him and I insisted that this worker don't do this job, don't do this lifting. Foreman, if you do this, if anything happen, you will go to jail. I tell them in a simple language and they stop. So the project manager went ahead to make sure that he removes me from the company. But God will have it. I was just only trying to do my job. when they deliberated on the whole matter, they said I should continue. From that, I gradually come to make them understand how to comply to health and safety. So when they see me, they know that I will insist if they don't follow, if they don't comply. But if they persist or they refuse to comply, little compliance they refuse, as a professional health and safety person, please find another company. Thank you. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you answered very well. So before someone else adds something, I want to add a bit to it. The job is a job, and it's not a death sentence. What I mean by that is everybody is responsible for his or her own safety. While we are there to ensure that they comply with safety requirements, and while we are there to ensure that everybody goes home safely, but even the supervisor, the employee also are also responsible for their safety. So what I'm saying is find a time, if you find yourself in such situation, which I know most of us has in the past, find a time to have a meeting with the team, especially the management team, and let them understand that this is what, this could be the legal implications of their actions and the way they neglect health and safety, and keep appropriate record. When I mean appropriate record is that meeting should have a minutes of meeting. It should have a attendance sheet for all the participants, and ensure that that information communicated is sent by email. Send it to email and tell them, as per our resolution in today's meeting, look at what we discuss. So this will form the record that we talked about today. So that it doesn't mean that after doing this, having a record or having evidence, that you should go and sit back. But in case along the line something goes wrong, you can also be able to prove that you are still doing something, as much as they are not yet complying, but you are still acting and doing something to ensure compliance. So this is what I can add to it. I'm sure that others can add as well and share also some experience as well.
Okay, boss, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Let me add one today. I've been following this program for a long time, but I never contribute anything.
Go ahead.
Because I still learning from my boss here. I want to share one experience, but not from my side. As he said we shall give story even from our side, or story somebody gives to us.
Yes.
This story was given to us when we are having our normal safety meeting from our consultants. He gave a story. This happened in Qatar here, and the story had been helping me for that time. I heard that story, and it was really hurtful. That a safety officer was coming from break, and he was going towards his location. On the way going, he saw somebody walking at height, unsafe height, without safety belt. He saw that guy walking on a safety height, but due to he's not in location, he just told the person, giving sign, "You are walking not good." It's an Indian guy. "You are walking not good. Can you come down and put safety belt?" He left because of he not taking proper precaution and action, because of he is not in his location. Then after he left, he don't reach 2 minutes. This guy fell from that side and died. And also, when the investigation started going on, they did not check whether his location or not. What they do, they check the CC camera and saw that was a safety officer passed through that lane and saw this guy walking on safe path, and he did not take any proper action. against unsafe that's working at height. Then the safety officer was responsible of that action, and he was jailed and deported out of Qatar because of this action. So since that time I heard this story, it has been helping me anywhere I'm working. Anywhere I'm working in society, whether it's manipulation or manipulation, as long as I'm working in that road, I make sure that if I say something like that, I'll make action. And if I not do anything, I just give report to somebody in charge or concerned person. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chika, for that interesting experience and interesting story. Sincerely, this story is very, very encouraging. What it simply tells us is that as a safety officer, wherever you see unsafe act or unsafe condition, you should not ignore. Whether you are responsible for that location or not, you should do proper handover. If you have not done proper handover to the person responsible in that location, as far as you observe that unsafe act and unsafe condition, don't just ignore whether you are responsible for that location or not. So thank you for that wonderful experience you shared.
You're welcome, boss.
Can we hear from others before we round up for today?
Just to add to what you guys have been saying, good evening all. Good evening. Yeah, the objective of this is not about blame culture. The objective of this is to ensure that people know what is right, follow what is supposed to be, don't look the other way, as well as so people to do their job. I agree with so many of your thoughts that sometimes people have to be blamed, people have to be held accountable. The question you should ask yourself, basically from what we understood when we did elementary part of NIVOSH, which is the IGC, what are the consequences of something going wrong on site? Moral, financial, and legal consequences. Moral consequences is the fact that you had a duty of care to stop the guy from killing himself, but you did not do something. You looked the other way. So you will never forgive yourself if somebody dies because of your action or inaction. Financial consequences means that they could put your company in big problem, which could involve money. It could even require the company to be shut down because of negligent acts. Legal consequences is where they hold people, including the CEO, accountable. If for any part of the time when we come to site or we go to any basic work site, you are given a job description. Please read your job description. You are given roles and responsibilities. Please read your roles and responsibilities. You are given accountabilities. If for one reason or the other, you have a construction or a technical guy who is stopping you from doing your job, please, at that point in time, escalate. Because whether you like it or not, if something goes wrong, heads will roll. They will catch people, including the top guy, and they will take strong action. Some of these strong action requires people to go behind bars. Hopefully, we don't expect that to happen, and we expect every person, if any one of us has any doubt about your job description, clarify. Because sometimes we don't read it. When something happens, they will pull you back and say, you signed this document. You know your roles and responsibilities. Why did you not act? So please, let's not just look at it from the point of view. If it was your brother that fell from height, of course, you will not leave the company alone. You will take legal actions, you will press charges, you will do everything to hold them accountable. Same with any other person. So if one person or the other, or a construction or a technical person is preventing us from doing our job, make as much noise as possible. Because if you wait for an accident to happen to start making noise, they will say this is reactive behavior. You will be held accountable. I have seen so much, especially people die on the job in the last 23 years. And I tell you, sometimes nobody plans for it. Nobody plans for anybody to die. However, if it happens, they will look through who is supposed to be here. whether it's the technical person, whether it's the CEO, whether it's the construction manager, they will take every one of them and they will start investigating. The process is a very tough process. Sometimes it can bring you to your knees. And when they finish, if there's any negligent act in what you are supposed to do or what you failed to do, sorry, that's all. So this is just my advice for all of you. Let's not look at the blame part of it. Let us look at what we're supposed to do and just do it right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Valentine, for that wonderful contribution from your wealth of experience. So, guys, it's been a wonderful day. Do we have any person that wants to contribute? Because it's already past 7. We might be rounding up so that I will not shut somebody down based on with his thoughts. All right, so thank you all for the wonderful informations. And just like Mr. Valentine has said, let's be focused on doing our job. Let's be focused on doing the job. And whatever, anybody that is standing on your way from doing your job, escalate it. Let everybody be aware that this person is stopping you from doing your job, so that in case something goes wrong, we know where the blame should go into. All right, so with that, we call it a day for today. So thank you all for joining, and next week we'll find another interesting topic to discuss. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.